Let's get into Cathie Wood here. ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood, $2,600 Tesla price target.
On X, saying that shareholders have voted by a wide margin to pass two resolutions. At stake is Elon Musk's pay package, moving Tesla's legal home from Delaware to Texas. Voting is still open, we should mention. Final tally expected later today. Meanwhile, Tesla bull Cathie Wood raising her price target on the company. ARK Invest 2029 projection for the stock is now $2,600 per share. And joining us right now, first on CNBC at the table, is Cathie Wood, CEO and CIO of ARK Invest. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Andrew and Becky.
I very much want to talk about this price target, but I want to talk about this vote for just a moment.
Yes.
I know you supported his compensation
Absolutely.
package. Did you expect, and look, things can still change, but it seems like some of the big institutional shareholders broke for Musk late last night. That seems to be what's happened. Retail seemed to have broke for him earlier than that.
Yes.
But were you expecting that? And what do you think, if in fact this is the verdict, if you will, or the vote, what do you expect is going to happen next? Because it doesn't seem like the game will be totally over, because this is, of course, probably going to go back to court.
Well, first of all, you broke that news about the institutions, and I was surprised, actually, and pleased. But I do think what has happened here, it really started with ESG and all of the drama around that. And it got these large index players to say, wait a minute, should we be voting all of these shares? We should be taking into account some of our clients' preferences. And so I think it's opened the topic up. It's healthy, I think, very healthy. So, but nonetheless, I was surprised.
Do you anticipate that this becomes another years-long drama, given that this will go to court? Do you imagine the judge is going to look at this vote, say that the process was fair? I mean, part of this whole situation, as she said, the original process was unfair. We've had some lawyers come on our air and say, even if shareholders vote in favor of this, a judge could still strike it down.
You know, I am not a lawyer, but I learned what was at stake, lack of transparency about relationships with the board. Well, all of that has been completely exposed, and here we're having a vote, and I think it's more overwhelming than I would have expected. So
$2,600 a share.
Yes.
Help us do the math. How do you get there? What has to happen for all of that?
Get there?
This is a 5-year price target, as all of ours are. And what has to happen...
5-year price target? I thought this was going to be a 10-year price target. There's a 5-year, 26... what? The bear case 2,000? That's over 10x from here. The bear case is 2,000. I mean, this is why people have trouble taking Cathie Wood serious. When your bear case is 2,000, like, come on, man.
5-year price target, as all of ours are. And what has to happen is an autonomous taxi platform, Tesla's autonomous taxi platform. So robotaxis, which is a SaaS-like model. Instead of selling a car and maybe the software package, and that's it, this becomes a recurring revenue model, a slice of every mile driven on that autonomous taxi network. Very high margins. Right now, auto gross margins are around 16%. Gross margins in the SaaS world are more like 80%.
How big a market does that have to become for Tesla to get to the $2,600 price? The reason I ask is there are some cities that may allow this to take place. There may be geofenced areas where people are going to do this. And there's also obviously a larger view that one day these cars will be able to do everything by themselves everywhere in the country.
Yes. Well, this is the largest AI project on Earth, autonomous mobility broadly. And I think it's going to catch on as quickly as that. Now, of course, what we've had during the last 10 years is a movement toward FSD, and now we're seeing safety statistics. And I remember
full self-driving for those uninitiated.
Full self-driving. You look at the number of miles between accidents for the average car in the United States. It's about 200,000 miles. Right. You look at a Tesla without FSD, full self-driving, just autopilot. Right. It's more like 600,000 miles. With full self-driving and an older version, not even the latest, 6-9 months ago, 3.2 million miles. Tasha Keeney has done this work. You know, Volvo built a brand on safety, and I think Tesla's going to usurp.
Okay, but we're in the middle of 2024. Yeah. You're saying we get to 2029.
Yes.
And that's where that price is. I think what I'm asking is, for your base case, for this to work, and by the way, we should say that Elon Musk tweeted out, extremely challenging,
yes,
but achievable, on top of your tweet.
Yes.
When does this all have to really go into effect?
Yes, we believe that they're setting up for robo-taxis, the network, within, I would say, 1.5 to 2 years. Elon would say maybe we'll start it.
But that also requires regulators to sign off on all this.
Yes, now regulators have an issue, and that is the auto accident rate has gone, after decades of going down with auto safety measures.
Right. Sharply. We talked to Pete Buttigieg about this yesterday. 40 to 50%. Texting is a big part of it. You know, disproportionately young people. Right. So deaths in the U.S. have gone from the low 30s. I think they got into above 40,000. So I think if regulators understand, and they do, that 85% of all traffic accidents are caused by human error. If you take the human out, you're going to make the roads Cathie,
safer.
we literally asked Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary, the Treasury of Transportation,
yes,
the Secretary of Transportation yesterday, Pete Buttigieg, about this, and he did sound like he was open to the idea as a result.
Yes.
And that's the first time I've really heard a public official who's kind of embraced it instead of saying, wait, we don't like the rise of the machine.
Absolutely. He is telegraphing that the roads ultimately are going to be much safer if you take the human being out of the equation. Much safer.
Yeah, but if T-Man gets reelected, then Pete's probably out the door, right? And so then T-Man could bring in somebody that, let's say, is not as welcoming, let's call it that, not as welcoming to self-driving vehicles, right? So these are all things to consider. They got to be seriously considered across the board, okay? Hey, I want to thank you for watching this video here today on the Clips channel. I want to introduce you to 1000xstocks.com. This is the most valuable service you're going to find out there. If you're an investor in the market, this is a tool that's going to help you immensely get to the next level in the market. So when you're looking at 1000xstocks.com, you're able to understand all the different metrics laid out exactly how you need them as a long-term investor in the market. So let's say I wanted to look at a stock like Palantir. I can go ahead and type in Palantir right here, and it's going to say all Palantir's different metrics right here. Let's say I want to go ahead and look at a stock like Tesla. I can go ahead and type in Tesla right here, search. It's going to give me all Tesla's metrics right there. Let's say I want to look at a stock like PayPal. Go ahead, search it up, and then it's going to give me all PayPal's numbers laid out right there. Compare feature is one of the most valuable features of any service literally in the world. And the reason being is you're able to compare 3 different stocks all next to each other in a matter of seconds. It's absolutely, there's no service you're going to be able to find something like this. So let's say I wanted to find out, what do I think is a better buy? Do I think it's Meta? Do I think it's Google? Or do I think it's, let's say, a stock like Microsoft, for instance, right? So I can go ahead, type all those in there, and then hit compare, and boom, in a matter of, what was that, a second or two, it gave me all the metrics out. So now I can say, okay, Meta's forward P is trading at this, Google's forward P is trading at this, Microsoft's trading at this, and I can go ahead and understand this on a very high level. Additionally, we have earnings calls on here as well. So if I need to listen to any companies I own or am researching their conference calls, I can do it right here through the service. So let's say Tesla, if I want to pull up Tesla's latest conference call, boom, I can play it. I can adjust the speed as well. So if I want to listen to it at 2x speed, I can listen to it at 2x speed, 1.5x. I also have the transcripts of the conference calls as well right here. We're also working a lot on lot of different new features behind the scenes. So if you would like to apply for access of 1000xstocks.com, go to 1000xstocks.com and you'll be able to fill out an application and go from there. Let's get into this, okay? First off, we are starting to get the boogeyman out of the house now at this point in time. First one up here, obviously here today, big news came out. Tesla shareholders vote to reinstate the Elon Musk $56 billion pay package. Now, this was something that was agreed upon in 2018. Obviously, miraculously, Elon pulled it off and, hit all the growth levers he was supposed to hit, and then a Delaware judge got in the way in this situation, right? And so shareholders had a vote again, and they voted for keeping the pay package, right? So major drama now over. Now, from my understanding, this does have to still go back to the court, but this is a pretty wrapped up situation. And also, the only reason, let's be very clear about this, the only reason this became a boogeyman for Tesla and why it became scary is people thought that if the Tesla shareholder base voted against this, there was a thought process that Elon Musk would actually leave the company. And my opinion always on that was I don't think he was going to leave, but I would tell you, I would much rather have Elon around than not have Elon around, right? When you have a great CEO that's done, to be quite frank, many miraculous things over the years, you want to keep that person around, right? And so this gets that boogeyman out of the way, right? And this was a huge point of drama, right? You had certain shareholders that had went out of their way and voted for this package that now wanted to basically take back the package. It was a whole ordeal. It's over. It's over. That's big, okay? Second boogeyman that's about to go bye-bye is Tesla's revenues recently had gone negative, right? Which, is something that's incredibly rare, pretty much never happens for Tesla. That boogeyman is going to be going bye-bye very, very soon here. If we look at the September quarter, analysts have Tesla getting back to growth in terms of revenue, and in the December quarter as well. And so I'm expecting Tesla to get back to growth as well. And so we got one more quarter of revenues being down, and then that boogeyman's going bye-bye as well, which a lot of people just don't feel comfortable investing in Tesla when the revenues were going down there, right? And the third boogeyman that's about to go bye-bye is around margins, right? Margins have gone down considerably over the past year or two, and that's because Tesla decided to keep dropping price, and that was a move Elon Musk and the management team wanted to do, right? To basically just take market share in a tougher demand environment. And so they did that. And it hurt margins considerably. But the good news is my expectations are the margin problem, the margins eroding, that's going bye-bye as well. And I believe actually in the back half of this year, you'll start to see margins uptick again for the company. And that's huge because, the chart is self-explanatory. It's been quarter after quarter after quarter of these margins going down. And so we got this last quarter to get through here. And then from there, I'm expecting margins to start to slowly increase, which I can tell you is a huge thing for the stock price because no one wants to invest into a company that their margins are in free fall and they just keep going down. People want to feel confident that the margin story in regards to stock, especially a lot of Wall Streeters, is getting better and better and better. And so we're about to get rid of the third boogeyman as well. And those are the three boogeymen in regards to Tesla, which brings out a new day, a new fresh day, right? For the first time in a long time, it feels like the sun is starting to rise once again for Tesla, and it had been a very dark night for a long time. Really like the past, I would say like 2 years had been pretty darn dark for Tesla, and it just seemed like everything just continued to get worse and worse and worse. And I feel like we're finally at a moment where we're on the right path again. The sun is coming out, right? Now, in regards to Tesla, right, we got to be very clear about this company and what they've transformed this company and done over the last few years. You go back to 2018, the company did $21 billion of revenue. This past year, they did almost $97 billion in revenue. Just an unbelievable increase that you're not going to see very often. That's ridiculous. The gross profit went from $4 billion to $17 billion plus for Tesla. And keep in mind, last year they had already done a bunch of the price drops and whatnot, right? So that's still incredible. That's over 4x of gross profit. Over 4x in that short amount of time. That's incredible that this company pulled that off, right? Now, meanwhile, Cybertruck, the most talked about, hyped vehicle to ever come out of any company, just to be quite frank, right? The Cybertruck if we go back to the end of last year, there was a lot of negative articles out there that was put out around Cybertruck, and even into the beginning of this year, right? Cybertruck manufacturing is a disaster, Tesla insiders say. This article came out back in December 2023. I mean, just the thing is with Tesla, and you got to understand this. Everybody has to understand this watching this video right now. The thing you got to understand about Tesla, anything that happens with Tesla, especially negative, gets so much publicity and so much limelight because it gets a lot of clicks, it gets a lot of attention, it gets a lot of views, it gets a lot of people sharing it around. And so whenever Tesla has any sort of issues, whether it be ramping a new vehicle, whether it be, a certain part, whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as it's got Tesla attached to it, it gets out there and everybody gets to see it, right? I mean, there's people I know that don't even really care that much about Tesla that will all of a sudden come to me and be like, oh, I heard with Tesla, blah, blah, blah. It's always some negative thing as well, right? Just because they heard about it when they went on Google or whatever they went on, right? So that's the important thing you got to understand. But here we are, right? And guess what? They got through the problems, and guess what? Cybertruck is ramping very nicely now at this point in time. Very, very nicely. And you're starting to see more and more of these on the road. I can tell you, I live in Vegas, right? And I see more and more of these on the road. Seems like every single week. And so Cybertruck is going to get up to mass production. And the thing with Cybertruck is they got years of ramp ahead, really, when it comes to Cybertruck in terms of, I don't even know where the top is for Cybertruck, but it's so far from now. And they'll be able to bring down price point on Cybertruck over time as well. Don't be surprised if eventually you're able to get a Cybertruck for $60,000 out the door. Don't be surprised at all, okay? People didn't think Tesla would be able to bring down its price on the Model 3 and Model Y the way it has, and they've done it. And they still make money off those, right? And so Cybertruck, long term, I think it's actually going to be a much larger volume vehicle than a lot of people are expecting. A lot larger volume, right? Now, look at right now. This is Tesla always thinking outside the box. And that's the thing you got to understand. When you're betting on Tesla, you're betting on a company that is such a thinker outside the box that's ridiculous. Like the things this company does, the way they think is so different, man. It is so different. Tesla is building a Cybertruck-only tunnel under its Tesla Gigafactory. Tesla reportedly plans to autonomously ship Cybertrucks underneath a nearby highway in its $1.2 million tunnel. So yeah, they're building this tunnel out. And so from my understanding, so if you look, the Cybertruck factory, or I shouldn't say the Cybertruck factory, I should just say the Texas Gigafactory here is over here. Then you got this highway that divides everything. So it looks to me, and they want Cybertrucks over here, so it looks to me like they're actually going to build a tunnel from here to over there, right? It's just Tesla always thinking outside the box. I always appreciate, that. And you got to understand, when you're dealing with a company like that, the products and services this company is going to come out with over the next 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years are going to be incredible. And the products and services you don't even see today, right? That's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with a company that thinks very differently. Now, that leads us to, we're less than 2 months away from the big robo-taxi day. It's a huge day in the history of vehicles. It's not a huge day in the history of Tesla. This is a huge day in the history of transportation. Let's be very, very crystal clear about that. Huge day. Now, this is obviously going to be huge for the stock price in the short term, but this is what I care more about is what this means for the business model long term. Now, we don't know exactly what the vehicle is going to look like. My guess has always been for years that the robotaxi will be 2 seats, and that will be the main one. And they'll probably have a bigger version of some sort of robotaxi as well, but the main one will be a 2-seat, probably get anywhere from 150 miles to maybe 200 miles, and be 25K or under. And so this is a huge day. It's monumental, and it's really going to get the focus off of all the crap that Tesla's really had to go through over the last 2 years, and really get talking about what Tesla has going for it over the next 2 years and the next 20 years, right? Now, when it comes to FSD, this technology gets better and better and better. I've personally used it, and when it comes to this technology, they're deploying it in such a clever way here recently in the past couple months, was something I suggested last year, which was they should give a free trial to all their customers, right? And they've done that now at this point in time, so it's allowed them to collect a lot more data while using the full FSD, right? And then they can use that data to train their models better and better, so the technology gets more perfected, because obviously this has to be not only safer than humans, but dramatically safer. I believe it's already probably there, but they have to get it even to another level to get these robo-taxis all out and about, right? You can't just have it without the FSD. Like, the whole point is having full FSD in regards to this. So when I look at this overall, this is a huge, if we want to think about the future of transportation, this is as big as it gets, right? I mean, literally going from, we've been driving cars for 100 plus years now at this point in time, and going from humans driving cars and crashing into each other to these vehicles being able to drive near perfect, right? And accidents happening very few and far between. I mean, wouldn't it be incredible if, when it comes to an accident in a vehicle, if it was so rare, it would be like something happening with an airplane or something like that, right? That's the type of level we need to get to. Right now, it's a free-for-all out there, and we know what the stats are. If you ever looked up the amount of people that are injured or unfortunately pass away in an automobile accident, it's dramatic. Now, in regards to the monetary value of this, right, I mean, I can't think of anything bigger in probably the history of automobiles than this, in terms of what it does to increase a company's true worth and true value over time, right? Because a robo-taxi fleet, the ability to, get one of those from your phone to come pick you up at your house or wherever and take you wherever, right? And it drives you around, and Tesla takes a service fee, that's massive. But also just for people in everyday life that will want this as a monthly plan, essentially, right? So FSD, absolutely massive. They're making great progress on this, and they're going to continue to make great progress. And the NVIDIA chips are helping out substantially. And guess what? NVIDIA is going to keep making better chips, and Tesla's going to keep making better chips. So the improvement of the technology is going to get exponentially better over this next year or two, right? Now, Tesla also in China, very important. Tesla clears another hurdle to launching full self-driving in China. So they're going to use Baidu to upgrade their mapping software. And when I think about Tesla's biggest market long term, it is China. That's their biggest market long term, in my personal opinion. U.S. is always going to be huge for them. Obviously, Latin America can be huge for Tesla long term, right? And certainly, the United States. But China is the biggest, in my opinion. You're talking about 1.3 billion people. You're talking about more and more people entering the middle class. It's a very, very competitive market. We all know that, right? But Tesla needs this incredible amount of data that they can get there to make their systems even better, right? And so this is a huge opportunity for Tesla, and I'm looking forward to seeing robo-taxis in China as well over the coming years, right?